Today I am going to answer your questions about coffee related, barista life, and also my channel on YouTube. Hey guys, back with me again, Angelia, and welcome to the celebration of 10k subscribers on YouTube. I actually didn't think that I would be this far on this channel, but yeah, 10k subscribers. Thank you for being here. I asked you guys to shoot me questions on YouTube community tab and also on my Instagram. I got almost 100 of them, and I don't know how am I gonna answer all of that, but I'm trying my best to answer as many as possible. So yeah, let's get into the video. Before I start with the Q&A, I want to put out a disclaimer that I am not at all a professional in the coffee field. I know what I know and I might be wrong. If so, please forgive me. This video is made purely for entertainment purposes, and all of the answers that you'll hear in this video are 100% from my own perspective and experience. I'm going to start with the coffee related question first, and then I'm gonna hop onto the other question regarding my YouTube channel and maybe about my life. I'm going to put a timestamps on the description box below, so if you want to skip some of the question, you can go onto the description box and just click on the timestamps there. Hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's get into the first question. A lot of you actually asking me about how I started my barista journey, and for this question I would refer you guys to watch my other videos about my barista journey. It's actually in Bahasa Indonesia, but I already make a English subtitle for it, so if you are interested you can watch the video. I will put the cards around here, or I'll link it in the description below. What was it like first starting off as a barista? It was fun, it was confusing, and nerve-wracking actually. When I was still in Indonesia for my barista training, I did it for approximately 3 months. I was so obsessed in getting the perfect textured milk. I really wanted to be a latte artist. I didn't really care about making a good coffee. I just want to draw a pretty picture on it, and that's it. But when I arrived in Australia and see how people can be very snobby about their coffee, they're like very particular in what they want in their coffee, my focus just shifted. Because as a barista, people pay you and trust you to make them what they call a liquid gold. It's some sort of a substance that they believed could make them live better, to make them function, to make them feel alive. And when I got my first real job as a barista in Australia, I was so scared that I would make a bad coffee for them. That is why on my first year in Australia as a barista, I was so focused on how to make the perfect shot, how to make my shot really consistent. I learned how coffee beans react to certain things, what make them changes, and how to prevent them changes in a drastic way. I am absorbing what the other barista told me about what they know and try implementing that on my routine. It could get overwhelming at first, but if you love what you do, it's definitely fun. When you first became a barista, what did people around you think about the job? In your opinion, what's the future prospect for it? Honestly, I didn't care enough to even wonder what people think about me or what I do. But as far as I remembered, everyone has been very supportive and even thought that this job is kind of cool. I know that there are big differences between being a barista here in Australia and being barista back in Indonesia, where I grew up in. People tend to think that a barista is just a coffee maker, which actually kind of is. But if you're really serious and have a really big passion in this industry, of course you can take your career further than just becoming a coffee maker. You can start working in the roastery, learn how to roast, and then maybe roast your own coffee beans and distribute it to coffee shops. You can open your own cafe. You can try to compete into a national or even international competition. You can go to a farm and then learn from the coffee farmers itself, improve the quality of the farm, the farmers, and eventually improve the quality of the coffee beans. There are definitely a lot more options in there rather than just being a coffee maker. You can totally do and be anything you want. So never let what anyone think determine how you live your life. Do you need a license to be a barista? How to become a barista with no experience? What do I need to know? And prepare if I want to work at a coffee shop. No, you don't need any license or any certificate to become a barista in Australia. You just need to prove to them that you can make coffee, you can handle rush hour, and you can also work independently and also within a team. I'm gonna be real to you and say that it's actually really hard to find a barista job without any experience, but it's definitely not impossible as well. What I always say to everyone who wanted to start a barista career without any experience is you can start from becoming a front of house or like waiter, waitresses, and then work your way up to the coffee machine. You can tell your employer or your boss, say to them that you're really keen to learn to become a barista, and see if they can give you some sort of barista training in the cafe that you work. Eventually, you can ask to your boss to give you one or a couple of barista shifts in your workplace, and then just continue from there. How do you feel to be able to work as a barista outside Indonesia? What's the good and the bad to be working as a barista? It's actually never been a dream of mine to becoming a barista at any point in my life before I moved to Australia. But it happened, and eventually I just fell in love with it more and more, and here I am. What I love about being a barista, it's like a work of service. When you can provide a really good coffee to your customers, it feels like you cure them, and it does feels really good when a customer came to you and personally thank you for the coffee because it was so amazing. Coffee in some way connects people, and as the provider, you'll eventually meet a lot of people along your journey and you'll get to know them as well. To me personally, it's a fun and fulfilling job. The challenging part is probably when you meet someone that is kind of difficult to handle, but it's kind of a rare occasion where you meet people like that. And even if you do, you won't see them very often. And if you do see them very often, you'll eventually gonna get used to it and you know how to handle them. So it's all good. How many years are you now in the coffee industry? 3. Do you think it's possible to be a good barista with not the best social skills? Girl, we're actually on the same boat here, so the answer is a big yes. Social skills are one of the skills that you can make perfect over time. As long as you keep on trying and putting yourself out there to be more social and approachable, you can totally do it. I'm personally very quiet around strangers. Either I'm shy or I'm just can't be bothered. Could be both. But I've been trying to change that and train myself to just man up and talk. It's not always a smooth sailing at first, especially because English is not my first language and sometimes Australian accent can be really hard to understand. There were a lot of conversations that I tried to make with my customers, They're actually super dry and it ended up so awkward. I actually really want to bury myself, quit my job and die. But on the other hand, some of the conversation that I made with the customers were a big success, that me and that customers are actually becoming friends for real. So I guess it's either you win or you learn, but it's totally doable. Just keep on trying to improve your social skills. You can also learn from the other barista or the other coworkers that you found really good in making conversation with customers. But yeah, good luck. 3 essential skills you think a latte artist or barista should have. 1. Coffee making skills. 2. Social skills. And 3. Communication skills. A lot of you guys have been asking me about my latte art. How did I learn it? How long? What's the process? And here's my answer. I think latte art for me has been a continuous learning. I've been a barista since 2017, but I started to focus on my latte art since September last year. At that time, I got a job in a fancy brunch cafe in Melbourne, and I thought I need to step up my latte art game. It actually didn't take me too long to become better at learning to pour a certain pattern, as long as I keep on practicing. But just like any other skills, if you stop practicing doing it, you'll eventually forget. And if you want to become good at it again, you have to keep practicing again. And yeah, that's just the learning cycle. Until now, I still can get better in my latte art. Can you give me any tips? Okay, to be able to produce a good latte art, you have to perfect your steaming skill first. You have to get the perfect textured milk first before you can pour a good latte art. So maybe you can start from there, or if you want, you can watch a lot of latte art videos, latte art training videos, or you can just pay someone to teach you how to do it properly. How did you learn to do basic latte art? How long did it take for you to perfect it? In a few videos, I see you create different types of latte art. How did you learn? I learn latte art mostly on Instagram because honestly, I rarely working with someone who is a latte artist, and I also never get any coaching for my latte art. So what I usually do is I would search a certain videos of the pattern that I wanted to learn, and then I just watch it 1,000 times probably. I would look at how they hold the glass, how they pour it, where they pour it, when they started pouring, and then how high and also how low when they started pouring it. And yeah, I just try to watch and absorb as many information as possible from that video, and then the next day when I got to my shift, I will try to practice it at work. There was this one time when I really wanted to pour a rabbit latte art, and I've been watching a lot of videos on how to pour it, and then when I try to pour it at work, it's just not working at all. It's not that it's not working, I just kept on messing it up and I didn't know what I did wrong. So I kind of almost gave up, and then I post some of the pictures of the failure rabbit latte art on my Instagram. And then all of a sudden, one of the latte artists that followed me on Instagram, he commented on the photos and then told me what I did wrong. And then he told me what I could do to improve the rabbit latte art. And that actually really helped me. So yeah, social media. Do you think it's worth it to get a barista class in Australia, especially a latte art class? Do you have any recommendation? Okay. I personally think it's not worth it to pay big bucks to get a latte art training, especially because you can totally learn everything online now, and it's totally free too. But then again, it's all gonna come back to you, what you want, what you need. If you want to be a professional barista, I think a proper coffee training is needed. But once you get a job as a barista, you can definitely train yourself and then eventually train your latte art skills along the way. That's for me. Trying to be as unbiased as possible. What is your favorite cafe you have visited in here? To be completely honest, I don't really have a favorite cafe, but I do have a lot of favorite coffee shops, if you would ask. And my answer would be Patricia in the city, Brother Baba Budan, Duke's Coffee Roaster, Proud Mary Coffee, and Cartel Coffee Roasters for their filters, and then Ona Coffee, I love them, and then also Rogue or Shamble Coffee, that's really good as well. I know that Melbourne cafes are severely impacted by this pandemic. How has this pandemic affected you and your work? It has been affecting me and my work tremendously, actually. Even though I do not own the cafe, but I feel like I have this sense of ownership in the cafe as well. When they lose customers, it feels like I'm losing customers. I don't know why, and it makes me sad, actually. Right now, our sales are going down, and most of the time in the cafe, we don't have anything to do. And it gets really boring and kinda affect our sanity. So, yeah. It's not good for the business, and it's also not good for the barista's mental health. But again, I am still really grateful that I can still keep my job. I can still work, I can still earn money to pay my bills. A lot of my friends who are working in this industry, they got laid off, they can't find any work as well. So I feel super grateful that I can still keep my job at the moment. And with people staying at home, I hope that the curve will be flattened and everything can become normal again. I can get all of my customers back again, and the cafe will not be so boring again, and yeah, everything will be better again. I really hope so soon. Which one do you prefer, milk-based or manual brew? I think it depends on where I went. If I went to a coffee shop that has a really good milk-based coffee, I'll go for their milk-based coffee. But if I went to a cafe that is really good for their filter, I'll go for their filters. Do you prefer light or dark roast? For filter, I love a light roast, and for milk-based, I like both. What kind of coffee setup do you have at your house? At the moment, I do have a coffee machine, but it's actually not mine, it's my partner's, and he's the only one who's using it. I don't use it at all, so I would say I don't have anything. If you could have your own home coffee station, how would it look like? Oh my god, this makes me so happy. I don't know why. Maybe one day, if I had the chance to get my own coffee setup at home, I'll probably get them all customized by spec design. So I found them on Instagram, and they just make this customized coffee machine to look like what you want it to be. So you can ask them what color you like and what are the type of materials that to be on your machine. But yeah, they are so good, and yeah, I might ask them to do that for me, or if not, I'm probably just gonna get everything white. I want Le Marzocco Linea PB, and I want a niche grinder. Is it niche or niche? or EK43. And I also want to have a pour over setup as well, but I still don't know which one to pick. How did you get started on YouTube, and who are your favorite YouTubers? I actually started my YouTube channel back in 2012. That was when I first uploaded my video on YouTube. For some reason, I felt that that was what I wanted to do. Making videos, making content. I probably, to this date, have almost 100 of videos in my channel, but I deleted a lot of them, and every video that I posted before 2020, I made them private. Long story short, I've been trying for almost 10 years to find what I wanted to share on this platform, and to this date, I honestly still don't know. But I'm just glad that I finally found an audience like you guys who care enough to spare a portion of your precious time of the day to watch what I created in this channel. So thank you so much for being here and supporting my dreams. And my favorite YouTuber would be Jen M, Eileen from Lavender, and Patricia Bright. I know they are not coffee related at all, but they have been changing my life tremendously in a positive way throughout these years, and I'm so grateful for them, and I really aspire to become like them one day. Why did you start YouTube, and do you want to own your cafe in the future? What's your aspiration? I started YouTube because I have a passion in content creating. I love sharing what I know, that's why I keep making these videos. I do want to have my own cafe someday, but I also want to explore the world. But at this point in life, I don't think I can do both. The future is really a big uncertainty at this time, so I don't want to plan too far ahead. But I'll definitely keep the dream alive and just keep working towards little goals from now. Oh, and my aspiration in life would be to become a better person, to share what I know about becoming a better person, and hopefully inspires other people to become a better person as well. What do you see yourself in the future? Achieving my dreams of becoming a financially independent woman. I will keep working towards my goals and be a happy and grateful self. Are you single? No, I am happily taken. Do you only work, or do you work and study in Australia? I was studying and working, but right now I'm just working. What camera do you use to film your videos, or do you just use a phone? Most of the time in my videos, I'll use my phone to record, which is the iPhone XS, but sometimes I will use my camera as well, which is the Sony Alpha 6300 with this 1.8 35mm lens. Whew. That's it. That's all of the questions from you guys that I can answer, and apologize if your question didn't make it to the video, but I actually tried to answer as many questions as possible. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have more questions, please leave it down in the comment sections below. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.